Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Matrimony.com Limited earnings conference call for Q2 FY21, hosted by ICICI Securities. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Hardik Sangani from ICICI Securities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Aisha. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of ICICI Securities, I welcome all the participants to the conference call. Today we have with us Mr. Murugavel Janaki Raman, Promoter and Managing Director of the company, and Mr. Sushant Pai, Chief Financial Officer of the company. We are going to start with the overview of company's performance for Q2 FY21, and then we can switch over to the Q&A session. Thank you, and over to you, Muruga sir.
Okay. Thank you, Hardik. Good morning, everyone. I hope all of you are staying safe and healthy. I'm happy to inform you that we achieved double-digit growth in matchmaking billing, both on a quarter-to-quarter basis and as well as on a year-to-year basis. It is in line with our earlier indications. This quarter has also yielded the best ever paid subscription growth of 27.8% quarter on quarter and 25.7% year on year. And we also demonstrated continued profitability growth in the current dynamic environment. Now let me come to the results. On a consolidated basis, we have achieved rupees 93.3 crores of revenue in Q2, which is a growth of 7.5% quarter on quarter and 1.1% year on year. Key highlights for the matchmaking business are as follows. In quarter 2, the billing was at rupees 96.2 crore, a growth of 18.5% quarter on quarter and 13.5% year on year. Revenue at rupees 92.7 crore, a growth of 7.6% quarter on quarter and 4.6% year on year. The revenue growth was lower because of billing impact in Q1 as indicated earlier. Paid subscription of 2.1 lakhs added during the quarter, a growth of 27.8% quarter on quarter and 25.7% year on year. This was due to our strategy to offer a differentiated price for different segments. AD for the matchmaking business declined 7.3% quarter on quarter and 9.6% year on year on account of this. We continue to track the impact we create for our customers. We are happy to state we have created about 21,780 success stories in quarter 2. In line with our focus on innovation and enhancing user experience, we launched a series of new initiatives and features. The recent feature we launched was Bharat Matrimony, a Prime membership service that offers 100% ID verified profiles to our customers. Who Can See Me, a feature that gives members a complete control over who can see their profile and contact them. A unique Secure Connect feature which helps members to receive calls from prospects without revealing their mobile number. This is very useful for female members where they can have a comfortable and safe matchmaking environment where they can receive a call without revealing their phone number to the prospects. Now coming to the marriage services business, revenue was at 0.6 crore in Q2 as compared to rupees 0.7 crore in the previous quarter. As indicated earlier, the business continued to have some challenges given the current environment. Through operational efficiency, we have brought down the losses to rupees 2.5 crore from rupees 3.3 crore in the previous quarter. The losses further reduced in quarter 3 for wedding services. On the billing and revenue outlook for quarter 3, we expect the quarter 3 billing for matchmaking to show double-digit growth on a year-on-year basis. Due to the billing pickup in quarter 2, the revenue in Q3 is also expected to show a double-digit growth on a year-on-year basis. Marriage service revenue will be at similar levels of Q2. Now let me pass on to Sushant to comment on the key profitability highlights. Over to you, Sushant.
Thanks, Muruga. Our EBITDA margin for the matchmaking business in Q2 is at 23.7% as compared to 25.1% in quarter 1. Marketing expenses for matchmaking are at 33.8 crores as compared to 26.8 crores in quarter 1. So you can see we have increased our marketing expenses considerably. This is due to increased business traction, our profitability trends, and also the competitive scenario. Excluding marketing expenses, our margins in matchmaking has reached a high of 60% in quarter 2 as compared to 53% a year ago due to operational efficiencies and productivity measures. This also indicates stability in all our operations if you exclude the marketing expenses. On a consolidated basis, our EBITDA margins in quarter 2 are at 18.8% as compared to 18.6% in quarter 1. Tax rate is at 23.2% in quarter 2, which was similar in quarter 1 as well. Quarter 2 PAT, net profit after tax, is at 10.3 crores, an increase of 9.6% quarter on quarter and 31.2% year on year. On the outlook for Q3 margins, given the expected revenue growth in quarter 3, we expect matchmaking EBITDA margins and PAT to increase. I would like to end with the customary safe harbor statement. Certain statements during this call could be forward-looking statements on our business. These involve a number of risks and uncertainties that could cause the actual results to differ materially from such forward-looking statements. We do not undertake to update any such forward-looking statements that may be made from time to time by or on behalf of the company unless it is required by law. Over to you, Hardik, for Q&A. We can now open the questions for Q&A.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 now. We would request the participants to please limit your questions to 2 per participant. The first question is from the line of Hardik Sangani from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi sir, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Great set of results. So just a couple of things. So firstly, is in terms of our ATV has reduced. So is it because of the general market weakness, or is it that we are trying to gain more market share now and we are also having a price play which we are doing in at least in near term? And secondly, what are the newer trends, or are people more willing to go as on account of lockdown? Are people more ready to do an online matchmaking instead of what they would have done earlier? That's it from my side for now.
Yeah. Thank you. See, in terms of ATV, drop was on account of our strategy to offer a differentiated price to different segment of customers. As you may know that the matchmaking, we got all type of customers from professionals to degree holders to diploma, plus various segments of customers, various socioeconomic status. So we built the capabilities to offer differentiated price based on various factors that includes, the point with the socioeconomic status to various other metrics driven by analytics. So basically, it is in line with to maximize the conversion. We are offering the right or the best price possible, while driving the growth objectives. At the same time, maximize the revenue objective as well. So it's in line with our strategy, and we believe that it's the right thing to do, and because we have different type of customers. So that's the reason for the drop in ATV, and so that is going to be our ongoing strategy for us. And come to regarding that, whether it is because of that the COVID, whether the people are switching to more online matrimony. I think definitely there is increased digital adoption happening in India, and so that's going to be continue. And again, as we speak, that lockdown by and large is kind of getting relaxed, while that uncertainty remains in terms of the COVID. But the COVID definitely has brought in the digital adoption across India, and the things are bouncing back to normalcy, and it's no more of by and large the lockdown. And the things what we had, the initial phase of doing lockdown, I think that is over now. And things are getting back to normalcy. So, and yeah, there is the digital adoption. We expect that to continue, not only for our category, in any category for that matter. Yeah.
Sure. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. We would request the participants to please press star and 1 to ask a question. Also, the participants are requested to please. We would request the participants to please limit their questions to 1 per participant. The first question is from the line of Rohit Balakishan from Riddhi Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Rohit, you are.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity. So just a couple of questions. So if I look at the last 3 years, while our e-registration and active profiles have grown at almost 15 to 18% annualized basis, but our paid subscribers have been proudly flat. So in that sense, our conversion has been falling. So could you share some thoughts on that? That is one. And also, sir, if you can share your market share in non-South markets. How has that moved over the last maybe a couple of years?
Yeah. Okay. In terms of the why the paid volume did not move up in the past, and I'd rather put it differently that now that the paid volume has really moved up to almost 28% year on year, because earlier we didn't build the capability to offer a differentiated segment to the different customers, and it was due to the way the things were built. And that's one of the reasons that the paid volume did not move up. By and large, operators have certain limited the price points. Today, build the capability. There's a lot of flexibility has been built into the system that they were ability to offer, ability to understand, and the analytics. There are multiple things you were able to do, and you build these competencies, and those things started yielding the results. The increase in volume is an account of that one earlier because of the way we are we're operating on the pricing thing. And in terms of the market share in the North definitely one of the strong players, but we don't have the exact the market share of where we stand and all the things. But definitely say that we definitely one of the strong leaders. We believe that probably around 30+% market share in the North, and while Shaadi is the number 1 player in the North, we believe that they're slightly maybe ahead of us, and we have been progressing well there. In fact, our growth in North has been very good. While we had a good double-digit growth, in fact, in North, we believe that we have increased our market share. We are growing, but again, we don't know the exact the data, but the way we are seeing that internal growth, I think that we are gaining market share in North. So.
Okay. Got it. I have a few more questions. I'll come back in the queue.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Archit Singhal from Safe Enterprises. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi team. So wanted to understand, like billings grew by double digit in 2Q as well as expected to grow by double digit in 3Q. What is driving this? Is it the overall market for online matchmaking is expanding, or is matrimony winning market share from peers? If you can highlight on that.
I think it has to do with our internal the capabilities and the team and the way we executed actually. And again, one of the things we've seen that the ARPU has dropped, and so basically we started working on not now again the strategy what you have started putting in place and the way you had executed it. So basically, they're offering a differentiated price based on various parameters backed by analytics, and also stronger execution and a strong leadership team. They're able to drive and convert. So all these factors have helped it in all the things. So these are the things that are contributed to the volume growth. And actually, the growth is largely driven by our online businesses, both all our matrimony sites. So the personal business has been sort of remained flat. In fact, we expect those businesses to move up further. And basically, the growth in online business was much stronger. And I think by and large, it has to do with our internal, the capability system, processes, our execution has resulted in the double-digit growth. While overall there is definitely increasing adoption happening, but it has to do with the mostly internal than the change in the outside world. And so, yeah.
So basically, you are winning market share also. So when you mentioned the overall digital adoption is increasing, which is expanding the market, and are you also winning market share from peers?
Yes, when you're able to convert better, when you're able to execute well, so definitely we are the growing market share. In fact, we see that we definitely moved up in North. Our growth has moved up in North, and while able to maintain and our share in South, which is a very strong market. So basically, we are executing well, and we believe that because at the end of the day, the ability to convert, the ability to grow, which are able to execute, demonstrate as a company that we are able to convert very well. So finally, at the end of the matter, thing is about how we are able to convert and how we are able to drive the revenue growth. So acquiring profile is one thing, free profile, and converting those free profiles. Yes, both are important. And both the parameters, the profile growth has been, as we had a good growth of profiles, and the conversion also has been good. So yeah, we believe that we are gaining market share, but again, we don't have exact data about the competitors. So we're not in a position to really comment that what is the exact percentage, but our growth has been good across the market.
Thank you. Archit, we would request you to please come back in the question queue for any follow-up questions, as we have several participants waiting for their turn. In order to ensure that the management is able to address all the questions from the participants in the queue, we would request the participants to please limit your questions to one per participant. The next question is from the line of Vivekanand Subbaraman from Ambit Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I would like to understand the customer behavior trends better. So you have now chosen to follow a segmented strategy where you are assessing the right price for each customer segment. But just wanted to understand, is pricing alone the lever that is resulting in this increased transactions, or is the engagement also going up? Meaning, are the free users spending a lot more time on the portal browsing profiles? And if you could also comment on the trends of active users, are they growing at a very healthy clip? And is the engagement growing? Thank you.
Thanks, Vivekanand. Pricing is not the only factor, because just because of we lower the price, it's not that people are going to buy it. There are multiple things. The product has to be good, and obviously we have a large number of profiles for various segments. So that way we have quality profiles, large number of profiles, strong network effect, and good product features, and many things. Having said that, in spite of that, there are different customer, different segments. So price alone is not going to help the member to go for a free to pay. The multiple factors plays into it. And with respect to whether the customer engagement has gone up during the pandemic, I think now they come back to earlier level. During the quarter one, when there's so much of lockdown, now things have come back to earlier level by and large. So and the engagement level is what it was in quarter one. So it's not anything. Sorry, what it was earlier, not even quarter one. Quarter one we saw some increased engagement on account of people sitting at home. And it's come to a similar level of engagement. But again, you are making continuous product improvement. Those things are continuing to happen. So price is not the only factor driving the conversion. This is one of the factors.
Right. And sir, when you talk about engagement returning to prior quarter levels, what are the metrics, consumer engagement metrics that you monitor among the free users when you decide to give them an offer?
No, the various things. It's not just one simple thing, okay, that, whether how much a person time has spent and all. There are multiple factors. So it can't say put a finger into one single factor, these are things. Because when you have the people on the platform, there are multiple things that are happening. Be it the profiles that we're viewing, the contacting, the active, the many things. So it's not one single parameter. There are so many factors that decide how the customers engage on the matchmaking platforms.
Just
All right. Thank you.
Vivek, just want to add one more thing, is that one of the factors that should work well is the whole back-end engine in terms of the telecalling, how they relate to the customers, what sort of metrics we monitor with the telecalling system have all been put into the place. And if you remember last year, we also had some leadership vacuum in this whole area. In the last 1 year, the new leadership has put in many processes and systems in place to bring in productivity as well as efficiencies in this whole process. I think that has also yielded into positive conversions. And when we see that, we believe that trend will continue in the future as well.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kush Gosrani from Vishud Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So just one question: with the adoption of differentiated pricing, has it also led to the increasing discounts that we offer?
Yeah, when you have the differentiated pricing, that means you are selling at a lesser price. So while you have the rack rate, so yeah, that means we are discounting to some segments and we are selling at a higher price to some segments. Yes, you are right.
Okay, sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I'll get back in.
Yeah.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one now. The next question is from the line of Arpit Shah from Stallion Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. Just a bookkeeping question. What are the free registrations for last 2 quarters?
Arpit, we are not sharing the actual number, but definitely the free profits are growing at a healthy double-digit rate, yeah.
Okay. And just one more question, if I can add. In your experience, what is the life cycle revenue of one subscriber? Because where I am coming from, because of the amount of money that we are spending on advertising. Like this year or this quarter, we have spent about 35 rupees on advertising for every 100 rupees in billing. And if you see that number for last in the last 2 years, it used to be 18 rupees. So what is the life cycle revenue for one subscriber?
See, the average revenue from one paid subscription almost, we say that they're close to a year, and they contribute almost like 13,000, 14,000. That's the kind of revenue from one single paid customer.
In 1 year?
Yeah, during the course of the tenure in the system. The average people say 9 to 12 months, and that depends on the user. So, and the average people pay 2.5 times or 3 times. So you can expect what are the ATV, we can probably double by 2.5 times, 3 times. That's the lifetime value of revenue from what you can expect from one customer.
So this one user stays in the system at least for 9 to 12 months.
Yeah, there are who will get married within a month. There are who will get married in a couple of years. I'm talking about average, this tenure. So.
And this ATV which we are having right now, 400, 485, is this a sustainable number or is it a one-off because of the changed pricing strategy?
I think we have executed the pricing strategies, and we expect that kind of the pricing strategy continue. Depends on which segment the users are growing. So the objective is to continue to have the double-digit growth, continue to offer the right price point at different segments. So ATT may come down or maybe stay at a similar level. It depends on which segment where the users are coming in. But the objective is the broad of the strategy is to offer a differentiated price point based on various factors, and with the objective to drive the conversion.
So we should model this somewhere about 4,600 ATV, and you should be looking to grow a lot more on the subscriber phase, right? Subscriber part.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
next question is from the line of Vivekanand Subbaraman from Ambit Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi. Thank you for admitting me back in the queue. The question that I had was the growth trends that we've seen in the various segments. So you had clarified that in your opening remarks, you mentioned that the online business grew at double digits. So I'm guessing that the retail business would still be struggling given that the walk-ins may not have improved. Could you also talk about the premium online packages and trends there? Is it improving in any way?
So our premium businesses, which are personalized businesses, including assisted service and elite, sort of had a flattish growth, and if not for that, the growth would have been better also, because the both elite matrimony and assisted service was impacted because of during the pandemic, and but on the contrary, the online business had a much better growth rate. As you rightly said, even retail had some impact. We expect those things to kind of bounce back, and hopefully from this quarter onwards. Yeah.
Right. And why are the premium packages not growing? Is it because there is an offline element also there?
No, it's because some customers still wary of meeting in person, because the premium business, not everything gets sold through online. Sometimes requires definitely meeting customers, particularly elite matrimony or even some personal services, meeting customers in person. So during the pandemic time, there are people who are not comfortable meeting the people in person. So there's some impact, and again, we believe that those things are kind of going away, and hope the business will also to bounce back.
Okay.
It has to more to the lockdown, nothing of any fundamental changes. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Swapnil Potduke from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for this opportunity. Great set of numbers. I just want to understand about your pricing. So, is there any possibility that your pricing will continue to drop here on, especially given that you are expecting double-digit growth in Q3 as well? And so, basically, what I want to understand is there any bottom pricing that you're looking at?
Yeah. Swapnil, our objective is to, while they offer a differentiated price, and we are at the same time also looking at maximizing the price on segments also. It's not that only offering a discount to some set of customers. So while I am not in a position to say at this point of time whether the price will further go down, or our objective is to sell it the right price to the customer, so that we can able to convert. So while the ARPU has dropped, probably the similar level or may further go down, but again, the overall the strategy or where you want to anchor our thing is that it's sell it at the right price to the customer, what the person thinks that kind of he or she can able to afford based on various factors. Again, it's not only affordability. Again, sorry to use the word affordability. Again, there are multiple factors that comes into this one. So not that socioeconomic status is the only factor. Again, there are many factors. It's all leveraged by the technology and AI, many other things as well. So yeah, if that some segment is moves faster, then probably ARPU will come down. With some segment able to monetize better with the right ARPU, probably be similar to stay at the same level. But as I said, the strategy is to give the price where we think they're able to convert those customers. So there are a lot of experiments also happen, and it's not one standard price, one single customer also. It depends on the reaction from the customer, various factors, depends a lot of things in dynamic nature. So it's not a price is locked for a particular customer that may also very depends on other factors as well. So
okay. Just one more question, sir. So any idea if you can give where do we stand with respect to the competition in terms of pricing? Like so right now we are at around 4,500. Where does the competition stand? Any idea will help.
I believe definitely our ARPU is definitely much better than the competitors, because totally we have a strong and dominant player, and we have a large number of the customers and who are serious customers, high quality customers, and a lot of customer segment is able to offer the better price. So definitely I expect that, kind of, because most of the market we enjoy a strong leadership position, so we know the discount much also. So we don't know what is the exact the ARPU competitor, but definitely maybe will be at least 30-40% will be less than. Again, I may be wrong also because we don't know the actual number, but definitely will be much lesser than us. But maybe even 30% less, we don't know. Okay, but it will be less. I don't know whether what percent, 20, 30, we don't know, but we definitely less than us.
Okay. Thanks a lot for this opportunity, sir. Yep. Nice day.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amit Jeswani from Stallion Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Globally, platforms make money when they sell new products to the same customers. We have tried that in the past. We've not been able to scale that. My first question is that what is our focus on scaling up on new products side? Because that is a very important avenue for growth. Because your current business potential growth rate is about 10, 12, 14%. So your newer high growth phase in a platform kind of business will only come if you come up with new products. So I just need a small update there. That is my first question. My second question is, what percentage of your people who are your free subscribers also download your app? And if you can share how many app downloads do you have as of the last quarter? And how has the growth trend been?
Okay, Amit, thank you. You may know that as a company, we pioneered various matchmaking initiatives. One thing is offer a different values and service. In the process, obviously, able to maximize that one. So while apart from the online thing, we launched assisted matchmaking service, is a personalized matchmaking service, and also elite matrimony for rich and affluent. And we recently launched something called Prime membership, where we will offer 100% verified profiles, photo added profiles, and so for degree holders and above. So these are on ongoing basis. While we continue to look at what else we can do to offer differentiated service, and thereby able to maximize the value. One thing is providing value to the customer. In the process, we're also able to maximize. So as you rightly said, we pioneered these initiatives. So I will in the process able to not only serve the customer, able to also grow well. In terms of come back to the number of downloads, those downloads have been growing. Again, we are not sharing the actual profile related information. So, but we've been growing at a healthy double-digit rate on whether it's online or app downloads. Every device people use to access our services. And so those things good. And obviously, today mobile apps almost contributes around 80% of our access are happening through mobile apps, which is dominant source of the profile creation for us. Actually, that's growing at healthy double-digit rate.
So just one question. Example: your revenue goes from 400 crores in the next 3 years. It goes to, let's say, 600 crores. What would be the increase of cost? Will your marketing cost stay at this 120 crore yearly run rate, 120 crore, or it will keep increasing, and all the other costs? So just trying to understand the operating leverage that you have, assuming you grow 50% revenues in the next 3 years.
Thanks, Amit. As Sushant Pai had indicated, look at the matchmaking business operating at a 60% gross margin. So while today the marketing has become the single most cost. So while at this point of time we think that it's important to continue to invest, there are 3 factors define the marketing. One is that while there are markets, definitely we are spending slightly more than what is required because of the competitor the activity in the region. So in a normal course, probably would have spent less. There are markets we are spending less than what is required because there are multiple brands, multiple things to it where you need to step up. There are areas we need to step up on marketing because there is opportunity for us to also to grow. And there are multiple brands within the Bharat Matrimony business. There is Bharat Matrimony, the Elite Matrimony, plus there are other brands as well. So basically, there are multiple factors that place into the marketing. Come back to the question that the marketing will remain at the same level. No, marketing is going to continue to invest based on what is the need, the factor which I said, the competition, our opportunity, what is required and all that. But will the marketing continue to go at a much faster pace? No, I think after reaching certain threshold, there is no point in investing much more than what is required. But there will be a continuous investment in marketing, And I believe that once we reach a certain threshold, after that the growth in marketing may not be that high. So, but today, yes, there are marketers spending more than what is required, but there are marketers that are under spending also. But a good thing that with thanks to all the operation efficiency which we're able to bring in, we're able to invest big in the marketing, we're able to support our growth. So marketing in the term, in near term, will continue to move up. And again, what we are looking at in the business, we are looking at good double-digit growth and profitable growth. What I can say, we are looking at both top line moving up and bottom line moving up and continue driving the growth. And if you have to further think, for the reasons which I said, further you have to invest more, yeah, we definitely look at investing more. But again, beyond the point, probably may kind of taper it down, even the competitive intensity, even that point remains high. We now need to spend beyond the point and all. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Vivekanand Subbaraman from Ambit Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you again. Two questions. One is on our marketing budget. So how much of the marketing spends are we undertaking on branding in mass media like TV versus performance marketing and acquisition of profiles in certain categories? That's one. Secondly, with respect to your non-matchmaking businesses, marriage services, you have a downtime because of weddings not happening the way they used to in the past. So how are you utilizing the downtime? And on a related note, any progress on the on certain other projects that you had planned, like the astrology acquisition, overseas acquisition, expansion, etc.?
Thanks, Vivekanand. And come back to on the thing about the first marketing that see most of the marketing spend on the TV advertisement, and the digital is TV advertisement is less. So and regarding that the marriage services, while the weddings are not kind of not happening the way it used to happen, while slowly things are opening up. At this part of the focus is on a few things. One is that we're looking at increasing the listings, both on mandap.com as well as on matrimonybazaar.com. The listings are going up because that's very important in a two-sided marketplace, and so that's moving up. And also, improving our product, improving our systems and other things, so that when the market opens up, we'll be in a position to grow these businesses. When it comes to astrology, yes, those businesses seem to be growing in line with our expectations, and we are also looking at how we can leverage that investment also, looking at offering some improved services to our customer astrology service. So there are certain things we are looking at. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And on the marriage services bit, you mentioned that you're looking to increase listings both on Mandaps and Bazaar. Does this mean that you are expanding the listings in cities where you are not present right now, or is it just deepening your presence in existing cities? And are you focusing just on listings, or will you do more? Any thoughts on how you're improving the product there?
I think as you said, we're doing both, deepening in some market and expanding in newer markets. And it's not just the listings, the product improvement. There's a lot of product improvements also taking place. It's a combination of listing plus product improvement and the process improvements. So on the wedding services, yeah.
Okay, thank you and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. We would request the participants to please press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Rohit Balakrishnan from Vriddhi Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks again for the opportunity, sir. So my question is also on your marriage services business. Given the duration of your customer is about 9-12 months, it makes sense to cross-sell and increase the ARPU per customer. So, sir, can you just outline your thought process on how do you intend to scale this business, given a lot of many people have tried to scale this business but haven't been successful, so would love to hear how how is our company trying to scale this specific business, and any progress that we've made in the last year and a half would be great to hear your thoughts.
Thank you, Rohit. And we are looking at doing a few things. As I said, one is that on a two-sided marketplace, it's important that we need to have the listings because at the end of the day, when the customer looking for services, they're looking for the listings and also that verify the vendors, and there are other things as well. And we have two things, that Mandap.com, and when someone looking at getting married, once after finding as a life partner, the first thing India start with people looking for the right venue, and I think that's one area where we see that there's an opportunity because today there's no single aggregator player offering a large number of venues, and the Mandap.com with more than 10,000 venues, and we are looking at definitely scaling up to 30,000 venues probably the next year or so, or maybe more also, and we'll be offering a comprehensive list of wedding venues across India. So we want the Mandap.com to be a go-to destination for anyone looking at the wedding venue. And so while we are not only looking at providing look at the Mandap venue, we almost have 64 parameters or something like that. We offer the every venue information, so people can easily find a wedding venue matching their budget, other preference, locality, availability. Again, availability is something we are also focusing on available information of the wedding venues. So it's not just showing the venue information, also to focusing on getting availability. Again, there's some challenges. It's not that easy to get available information. Those are some of the things we are working on it. So Mandap, we believe that there's a good the problem we are trying to address. And again, before the business is in nascent stage, again, there are a lot of things need to put in place before the business to scale up. And again, the pandemic has affected. We started offering the business model. We sort of earlier from commission, we moved to the subscription business model. We believe that is the right business model. So those things started happening. Again, the pandemic hit us, sort of in a way that we're back to square one on the business. But again, the listings are going up, which is important for the long-term health of the business. So that's on the Mandap.com. The Matrimony Bazaar, again, there are many players are there, many people trying to do it, all the things. But since we have a large matchmaking audience, when people get married, we believe that we're able to effectively integrate the wedding services business also. There are some work, again, something already executed. So we believe that in the long run, we can make the Matrimony Bazaar business also successful. Again, there is a focus on listings and the quality of the vendors. We recently tied up with the CRISIL. We offer a CRISIL verified vendors on a platform, and we see that the many vendors are taking the CRISIL certification, and because so once it comes to wedding services, the credibility of the vendor also comes into play, and we offer this CRISIL tie-up. With the CRISIL tie-up, we are able to offer the vendors information getting verified through them. So like that, the initiative is taking place. We also strengthen the leadership team, and so we had a chief business officer joined almost early this year. So on the people side, product side, and we are continuing looking at other things as well. And as far as the wedding service long-term play, as Sushant Pai had indicated that with the efficiency, we were able to bring down the losses. So from 3.5, though the business revenue has come down, and obviously that's expected. So we have optimized many areas, and it's a long-term play for us. But we believe they're doing the right thing. When the pandemic ends, I think we're able to start scaling up the business.
So just one follow-up on this CRISIL partnership. Any thoughts of? I mean, I just wanted to understand the rationale of going ahead with CRISIL rather than doing it on our own. I mean, in terms of like having our own rating and sort of our own engine to do this. Because if we scale and if we do this well, then that can be a very big source for us in terms of future insights and data, etc. So just wanted to understand the reason why we outsource it to CRISIL.
No, we have the information. We know the vendor to build the credibility. CRISIL is the worldwide organization. Basically, the credibility what it brings to the customer actually. When you say that verified by Matrimony Bazaar compared to verified by the CRISIL, yeah. So because verified Matrimony Bazaar, whether how much of that customer attach value to it compared to the global organization. So that definitely add to the credibility. Okay. Probably long run, when the business occurs certain the status and things, then probably what matrimony can offer, probably Matrimony Bazaar offer also may attach some value, but at this point of time, yeah, Chris will definitely add to the credibility.
Sure. That is it from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rohit.
Thank you. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one now. The next question is from the line of Hardik Sangani from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
So just a couple of questions. Firstly, in terms of female participation, so the way we understand generally, the walk-ins are primarily driven through female profiles, which the parents would be giving. But now in the times of the pandemic, there might be some, like the walk-ins would have been lesser. So how are we ensuring that the female participation either improves or stays the same? And in the second part, the management officer alluded to earlier, we have made some investments in our tech team as well, which will help us in better matching of the profiles. And we also did some addition to our tech team. So how has that been playing out? Yeah, that's it from me.
So basically, the people create a profiles through online, either by downloading app or coming to online and through the desktop or mobile device. So people don't walk into retail to create a profile. When people walk into retail, more like they want to subscribe to matchmaking. So retail doesn't contribute to our profile addition. So it's a very, very insignificant. So retail definitely helps when the parents want to walk in and have a face-to-face interaction and want to go for subscription. So retail is mainly for adding to our paid volume and servicing the customer. Retail contribution is a small part of our business. So that way that retail, because of retail, our any registration on the online is as impacted, no. So because people register profile through online, so people don't walk into retail to create a free profile, and so that's on the retail side. And what is So what? Sorry, I missed the second thing, sir.
Yeah, just on the tech side.
Tech side. So we've been continuing making what I require investment. We have strengthened our data science lab. We recently hired a head of data science lab. And we are doing all the required investment on the product side, or tech side, on the analytical side. So to continue looking at improving our product and matchmaking algorithms. So a lot of work, is ongoing work happening on that area. So.
Thank you. That's so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anthony George from Chris Portfolio. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hello. Thank you for the opportunity. Am I audible?
Yes, Anthony. Please go ahead, please.
Yeah. Could you please give us some clarity on your advertising strategy? How much is online and offline advertising?
So majority advertisement is done on TV. So online is it's a Google and other Facebook and other things. So TV is where we spend a lot of money. So good amount of money is being spent there. Almost probably you can say 70-80% of money being spent on TV. Then the rest goes with digital. Yeah. So again, it's a rough ballpark. Yeah.
Okay, that's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Avdesh Babu, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. My question is related to your strategic move in future. Currently, your main market is like mid-income people. Are you also planning to move to lower side, because that market is still untapped? It's not because that your platform is also available for them, but it is because they are unable to create their profile because of their educational background. But that market is still growing. It's growing at very fast pace because their mobile adaptability is growing. Are you also thinking tap into that market in future?
This is as an organization, we are servicing a set of customers. Today offering a service. Sorry, some kind of. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. So basically, Yeah. Okay. So to come back to your question on, there are the segment of customer today, they're not able to avail the services. Maybe as you progress, we need to look at, how to service certain the customers who are not able to use our product. So something, which you need to, kind of plan it out and, well, there's an opportunity. At the same time, you need to figure out on how to, serve those customers. And yeah, these are some of the opportunities which you need to evaluate and, figure it out, whether it could be a differentiated product, whether the same product. And that's something, yeah, there's an opportunity which you need to figure it out and you need to execute it, yeah.
But you haven't started or initiated anything in that regard, right?
No, I can't say that, kind of, as a company, definitely look at there are various things happening inside the organization. So I can't say that we're not thought about it. Kind of, there are many things, many ideas, many discussions. So yeah, we there are various areas discussed. Depends on the priorities and the things get executed. Where is the opportunity? Where you need to organize, you need to focus on. So yeah, it's something we need to look at. But yeah, so I can't say that something like. What's going on at this point in time. There are many things we are looking at to drive the growth. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for answering.
Thank you. The last question is from the line of Harsh Jain from Centrum PMS. Please go ahead. Harsh, your line is in talk mode. You can go ahead, please.
Yeah, hi, sorry. So my question was, how has been the billing revenue growth for the month of October, and how has been the trend month on month for last 2 to 3 months?
No, we have been having a double-digit growth, and even in October we had a double-digit growth. We expect that double-digit to continue. But the Q1 obviously it had impacted, and we started bouncing back from Q2. The trend will continue.
And the trend month on month, so is October billing growing above the September month?
Yeah, October, yes. October also had a double-digit growth.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. The last question is from the line of Devang Bhatt from ICICI Direct. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Thank you for taking my question. Just wanted to know that, your paid subscriber growth is 25% YOY this time. So what kind of growth are you seeing in the medium term? And with this revenue growth, what would be your sustainable margins in the medium term?
Basically, we expect that the double-digit growth on billing to continue, and so that the top line also will be double-digit. And what I'm looking at is the broad direction. What it can do at this point of time is that there'll be a top line growth, there'll be a bottom line also will grow. So basically, you're looking at a profitable double-digit growth. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for taking it.
Thank you. As there are no further questions, I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thanks, Aisha. Thanks, Hardik. Thank you all for joining this call. We look forward to speaking with you in the coming days. If you have any questions, you can write to me. Thank you once again.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for participation and support, and thank you, Hardik and Aisha. And thank everyone, and my advance wishes for Diwali, and look forward to speak to you also. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend as well.
Thank you. On behalf of ICICI Securities, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines. Have a good day, everyone.